you medically if you didn't have the same symptoms.
So we'll officially begin this session right now.
Okay.
Yeah. So hello and welcome to people joining in from different parts of the world. We have special guests joining from Berlin today, and we welcome you to the second episode of The World is Talking, brought to you by Inspirectuals in association with The Mind Takeaway. And this session is going to be very special because you will hear us talk about Corona, mental health, and you today. So, just to begin with, before coming to the main talk show event, I would like to introduce you to the speakers who are there on the call. I am Chahat Mishra, a leadership and lifestyle coach, keynote speaker, motivational strategist, and the CEO and co-founder of Inspirectuals. I have the pleasure of introducing you to Peter Griffiths and Mira Griffiths. Just to give you a brief about Peter, he's a leadership coach, creativity and innovation consultant, co-founder of The Mind Takeaway and co-host of the Mind Takeaway podcast. Peter is committed to helping individuals, teams, and organizations embrace originality, realize their creative potential, and adopt a human-centric approach to organizational leadership. Over the last 2 decades, Peter has served as a people manager for large-scale organizations across the world, including Orange Telecom in the United Kingdom and Zurich International Life in the UAE. He's also a certified NLP practitioner and a certified clarity coach. Peter is highly skilled at bringing out the best in others and building high-performance teams. Aside from his leadership and coaching work, Peter is also an electronic musician and audio engineer. He has performed at numerous festivals and clubs, including Glastonbury and Creamfields festivals. Peter, the pleasure is all mine to have you on my show. I have the next speaker, that is Mira Griffiths. She is a transformational and leadership coach, co-founder of the Mind Takeaway, and yes, she is also the co-host of the Mind Takeaway podcast. Through her work, Mira has always focused on guiding people to mental clarity and helping them cast aside limiting beliefs. It's both her goal and her passion to lead people to more peace, confidence, and authenticity in their personal and professional lives. Now, Mira's dedication to others stems from her own first-hand experience with trauma, loss, and pain. Just to share with you, in 1991, on Mira's 12th birthday, war broke out in her childhood home of the former Yugoslavia, forcing Mira and her family to become refugees. Having seen such a harrowing side of humanity, she felt compelled to spend her life serving others. Mira is an experienced professional in hypnotherapy, counseling, and psychology. Over the years, Mira has lived and worked in Serbia, UAE, UK, and Germany, giving her a unique perspective of the value of embracing diversity. That's, I would put to words for introducing my speakers on the call today. But just to begin with, I would want Peter and Mira to give the opening remarks before coming to the main questions.
Yeah, we are very happy to be here with you today, and that's and really talking about this topic. I don't think we spoke recently about mental health. People are now talking about uncertainty, unknown, fear of change, all of that. But all of that actually is related to our mental health. The way we are able to deal with everything that is happening today is reflection of how well we feel inside. So thank you for this opportunity.
Absolutely.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
It is all us. Thanks, Peter. Thanks, Mira. So coming on to the first question of the talk show, I have this question for Peter. Peter, you have worked with some of the world-class organizations in the UK, UAE, and Germany for more than 2 decades. Why did you choose to move on from the corporate world to serving people in the community through your leadership coaching and podcast? What were the key drivers? Audience wants to know.
It's a great question. Thank you. I guess I just a bit of frustration over the years because although I work for some amazing companies and I'm really blessed to have that experience, but what I found is that it's actually, if I'm honest, much easier to address some of these challenges that leaders face from the outside. And if I'm honest, we didn't set out to co-found a company together, Mira and I. The main takeaway actually came from, I guess, our shared passions. And then you throw in the mix of, as you said, having a music career. And we were like, how could we impact the world? And initially, through a lack of experience, before we learned a lot about the coaching side of it, we were trying to do all of these things. But then when we slowed down, what made sense to us was really, I guess, grounded in our shared experience, right? So then we were like, well, we started a group together and formed a little community. And through that shared passion, it became a business. But had we actually tried to plan that from day one as a startup, or, we've got this business idea and write a business plan, I don't think it would have had the right legs or traction, right?
Well, yeah, we wouldn't have, we actually probably wouldn't know what we wanted through experience and doing it for the sheer joy of doing what we were doing. We actually realized what we want. So, from experience and your experience through life, you come up to the next step. And then I don't know what will be the next step yet. So let's see.
Yeah, and the cool thing is we are just literally riffing and having fun, and our passion shines through. And if I'm honest, that's what really drives us to impact our clients. Because if we were kind of not in it, no skin in the game, and we were just doing it like a job role, there's nothing wrong with having a job and having a successful career. But what we realized is that if we're not working for someone else, then we must enjoy it. We must be passionate about it. And we just followed our heart, really.
Yeah, got it. So, this is something which I see as, you've turned your passion into reality, right? Now, most of the people across the world, they have this thing ingrained in them, but very often you see that they fail to discover it, or even if they discover their passion, it's too late in their life. So what would be a recommendation from your side to people like them who've been very late in discovering their passion?
Not too late, right?
Yeah, I don't think. I think it's more like we were talking about ageism the other day, and how actually we limit ourselves thinking that we are too old for something. I think it's there is so many people that did such amazing stuff and discovered things in life, and scientists when they were older. So sometimes in order to discover what you want, you need to go through a certain experience of sometimes what you don't want as well. So yeah, I don't think it's too late. I think not starting it when you discover what it is, you might hold some regret later in life, but yeah, it's never late.
Absolutely. Yeah. So audience who've joined on this call, please note this, that Peter and Mira come with their own passion in life. Peter has been a very avid musician. He has done a lot of stage shows. He's been involved in a lot of club activities. That's there in him ingrained. But there is something which we see as an interesting side of Peter, wherein he's come on to serving the community, which I would say acts like a balm to his mental health, because what we see is that he is there in the community to serve people. Just to share with you, today I was just recording a video wherein I was talking about most of the people, they have this thing that money is something which always attracts them. But there is nothing wrong about money, but yes, there is something beyond money that should matter, which is giving something back to the society out of the work that you do, right? So this is very, very closely related to the mental health topic that we're discussing today. Moving on to the next question, Peter and Mira. I have this question specifically from Mira. You come with a very impressive background of psychotherapy, hypnotherapy, counseling, and psychology. In your opinion, what is the key difference that you have seen in the mental health, or you can call it the psyche of people, pre-COVID and post-COVID? What could be the reasons for such a mind shift, Mira?
Well, you know what I've noticed? I've noticed more openness to talk about it. I've noticed more openness to deal with whatever is going on right now, and people are talking about it. People are opening up about how they feel, and you know, there are things that happened on a maybe more global scene together with lots of us, and it's this process of grieving of what we lost, the future we lost, the imagined future we lost. You know, some people lost jobs, some people lost friends and family members, but this is something that it's happening all the time. You know, we are losing people in our lives all the time. We are losing jobs. Companies are being closed. We had credit crisis in 2008. So most people that are working today have probably been working then as well. So it's, but what I've seen shifted is that more people are talking about it and asking for help. I think it's more acceptable today to not feel good, because we are all in the same basket. You know, we all experience this problem right now. Yeah.
Yeah, you're very correct. I mean, when we talk about mental health pre-COVID, people were not very, acceptable to their state of mind. But now, since COVID has hit everybody, and that too real bad, people have seen the colors of COVID. Nobody was aware how their days are going to be. But now it's like more prominent as the effects, or you can call it the after effects of COVID. Right? So it's important to, be in the right state of mind, especially when you are dealing with your work life, and that too, especially when you're at your house or with your friends, with your loved ones. It's very important to have that kind of balance in the personal and professional life. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you have anything to add to this?
Well, I had something in mind, and now it's kind of gone. But let me think. It's. Sure. I think, you know what also happened? I think the fact that we had to be at home and couldn't, I mean, for us, I don't know what the situation, probably depends on where we live in the world and what are our possibilities. But for us was, and for lots of people that we know, was staying at home and working from home. And I think it's because we couldn't go outside. We couldn't go shopping to run away from our problems, or go to the bar, or go to, cinema or something. So people had to, there were some problems or things that we didn't deal with psychologically, internally in the past, that because of the situation we are in, they're kind of bubbling up on the surface. So it can be problems in relationships. It can be, some emotional stuff that we went through in life earlier that we didn't go through. I mean, we know that lots of people are going through the grief of their loved ones that they lost years and years ago, just now. So it's kind of accumulated, and that's also something that we've noticed personally as well, and with people that we know around us.
Yeah, let's say that's the case, that there's two different things going on. One where people have really appreciated the full stop, really the handbrake was pulled, quite out of the blue, and everyone was shocked that they had to stop doing this and working from home and all of that. So some people are thriving without any help from, support. And there's others, like Mira said, that, I mean, even for us, even though we understand the psychology piece, we were like, wow, this has impacted me in a certain way. Yeah. But I guess we were lucky that, we're always working on ourselves. So we actually had a lot of conversations with friends, family, people that we wouldn't ever have talked about the psychological stuff, like anxiety, mental health. So it was really heartwarming to be able to have discussions with some of my close friends and family. Whereas before, again, they had a mindset that it wasn't really something you could put on the table and talk about. So I think that's a real big positive, that we're not having to push these mental health things as being something that you can't talk about. I mean, there's still a lot of work to do even when COVID ends. But all I'm saying is I'm really happy to see that people are a lot more comfortable and willing and actually can see that there's a way forward. There's a light at the end of the tunnel,
Absolutely. So, in my opinion, what I would add to what both of you have said, right? Pre-COVID, you see that the fear of Corona was more, and once it started hitting, across the world, and when it came to India, late February and March, when organizations started working at they announced work from home from the first or the second week of March, right? That was the time when people were uncertain about things, and going forward, I mean, after like 3 months, 4 months, 5 months passed by, people started realizing that, the fear of Corona started declining, right? And now we see that since the vaccine has come, people are like on the roads without any safety. It feels like Corona has never hit anybody. And so, I mean, that's on a lighter note. But I have a very interesting question for both of you coming forward, Mira and Peter. How important it is to get help early when someone is in an emotional distress. And what we want to know is this: does one really have to look outside for help, or is it in our minds that can be treated with self-help? For example, when we are faced with some sort of problem, right? When we are in a fix, we try to look for help outside. We go to a friend, we go to anybody who, or maybe an aid of us, but is it really needed to go to someone, or can that help be taken by self-help? What are your views on that?
I think it's a really good question, because it really depends on, it's a very personal experience. So all we can share is our experience of dealing with that as fellow human beings, right? So for me, if I get into an agitated state or I'm in a low state, Mira's here. Sometimes if she wasn't there, I know that I'm comfortable reaching out to friends and family, and I'm an advocate for talking about these things. And even though I might feel uncomfortable, I don't know if you've thought about this with the people that are listening and watching right now, but when you feel low and you've got anxiety, probably the last thing that makes sense to you is to reach out to someone else, because you feel isolated, like you're the only person that's suffering. But I'd actually say to people that that's the time when it should be a call to action to reach out. But not to say that, if you look inward, and when I say looking inward, not physically looking inside your body, but just putting the brakes on and reflecting like, okay, I'm feeling like this, but let's explore it. And that curiosity of exploring your feelings and thoughts will actually carry you through to all of the things that we're looking for, all of that well-being and resilience. And we honestly believe that every human inside them, they have access to that 24/7. But the challenge is that when you've got a lot of knotted, like a big ball of wool in your head, so to speak, and you can't really see, the wood for the trees, then it's really difficult to get access to that state of mind, isn't it, for clarity?
Yeah.
But the thing is, this might sound a bit cheesy, but when you look at a storm cloud, and this is like, it's zapping you with lightning, and that's a horrible day when you feel low and agitated. But what we forget is, above those clouds, there's always sunlight, there's always a blue sky. And what we're saying to you is that once your mind settles without doing anything, you will get access to those good feelings. But we just forget that, right?
Yeah, we think that it's static. It's bad, and this is how it's going to continue being. Because when we look into the future, we look from where we are right now, and if you're not feeling right now, future also looks bad. And if you're feeling good and look in the future, you think about nice stuff. So future doesn't change. Future doesn't exist. But it's how we feel, and then we project that into the future. But as Peter said, it's not something. I mean, coming from psychology background, it's there is no one size fits all, and there is no
Absolutely.
and so for some people, I mean, I know that sometimes if I'm, stuck with something and I'm not feeling well, just acknowledging it to myself and getting aware of what's going on, it kind of changes, If I voice it out, if I say it out loud to someone, I'll find the solution, even myself. Sometimes when depending of the situation, and sometimes we really need, we need some professional person to tell us,
Absolutely.
this and this is how. But the only thing that I wouldn't suggest is always listen to other people, but listen to yourself. When we are very low, we tend to be easily.
That's very important. Yeah.
Easily persuaded into directions that actually don't suit us, and we all learn from these situations. So it's really checking in with ourselves, and I think self-help in terms of learning about yourself, learning about your feelings, connecting with them, that is important all the time. So when we are in situations that it's really difficult, it's much easier to deal with that.
Yeah. So, just to add on to lovely viewpoints made by both of you, during this COVID phase, we've seen, or I would say that people have been unmasked, right? In the sense that those who really cared for you came forward. But now, people who never cared for you either have two options. They will choose not to respond to you. They will delay the response, right? So everything that we do is a choice that we make. Either we, when we reach out to someone for help, right? Especially when we are too low and we are not able to do things, concentrate well in our work or in our family matters or anything, right? So that's where I feel that so it's like two sides of the same coin. People will love to help you only when they feel it's right. But yes, this phase has unmasked a lot of people because people who really cared for you, you can see them, right? You can hear their voice during this phase, and people who never cared for you will never come again. I mean, that's something which I would want to bring out. So this phase is something which has been the test of patience for many of us. Yeah,
it is. But I would also like to add to that a little bit. The people are very good in crisis, and it's really interesting to me that I looked at. So you mentioned that I come from war-torn country, and during the war, people hated each other, and they were killing each other and everything. But then, I think it was 2014 was a big. There were big floods in Serbia, and I wasn't there. I was in Dubai at the time, but there were big floods in Serbia and parts of Bosnia that is Serbian enclave, or I don't know how they call it. And so people from Croatia were coming to help relief and bring relief. They were bringing things and stuff and money and help, and they were coming physically to help to a neighboring country. And I just could not believe of how much goodness. And as soon as they stopped, they started saying bad stuff about each other again. But when it needed, they were. So there is always that. I'm always surprised of how much humanness and good is in us when it's needed.
Yes,
but
yes.
Yeah, and actually, COVID is a good.
It doesn't come up so natural all the time. Yeah.
Yeah, and COVID's a good example that. Yes, I know when we have time to think and there's a lot of time to reflect, we can get scared and think about the future and anxiety comes up. But as Mira said, it's almost an automatic response from all humans that when we're in adversity, we forget that we can deal with it in spades and quite happily deal with it without having to actually try and fix it or do anything up front. And that's all we like to say is just be curious and reflect on that if you do end up in another crisis, because let's be honest, I mean, uncertainty for us is every day. COVID is no different than any other day for us, if we're honest, because psychologically,
you never know what will happen.
We can only know what we're doing right now, right? But in 10 minutes time, 1 hour, who knows, And I think we just have to be a bit more mindful of that COVID is maybe a test for humanity, just to remind us that actually everything is uncertain. But that shouldn't be a bad thing, because I actually think as a species, we've got it in us to be able to deal with whatever's ahead. Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, that's when all of us have that realization in us that, so when we see people away in normal situations, right? When COVID wasn't there, right? So people had that good side and the bad side, and it used to come out the way it used to be. But when COVID hit, right, we saw that people either they were too helpful, right, and they were there supporting each other, or it was just the extreme, the two poles apart.
Or they were running away. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. So I mean that was a very small point I was trying to make. But then moving on to the next question, Peter and Mira, this year has tested all of us in unimaginable ways. And Corona has resulted in a lot of people losing jobs globally, businesses getting shut, markets being volatile. Some of us lost our loved ones. And how should one look at during this phase when we have had such shocking turn of events? And all of this has deeply affected most of the people in their respective jobs, careers, and more importantly, in their state of minds. So your thoughts on that?
We were talking about this quite a lot in the last couple of months. And thank you for this question, because there's been a lot of bad things happening, let's be honest. I mean, we know friends and family have lost loved ones and the like, and it did challenge us. And lots of businesses are no longer here. Lots of different sectors have been affected. But as we said before, I mean, the uncertainty part is just part of our existence, and not to play down anything that's happened, because it's been really challenging. But if we just all get curious and reflective about it all and think, well, okay, we're in this and we're all going through it, because I didn't want to say we're in this together, because that sounds a bit chonky, right? But we are literally all humans together going through this shared experience of dealing with this huge thing, which is COVID. But what I'm saying is that, going back to what we said before, we can deal with these things, but we just have to accept that sometimes we have to put the brakes on, right? Because I know that some of us might not have that choice. So, for example, depending on where you are in the world, you might not get time to have downtime and reflect on your own because of where you live. Because I know for where we are in the West, right, we can self-isolate, we can choose to do certain things. But there's many people in other countries that just don't have the same. So when people were asking us the other day, they were saying, well, isn't it great to reflect? I'm like, well, we've been lucky to be able to do that. But I know people in other parts of the world that we connect with who've actually, it's been business as usual. Even though COVID's going on and wearing masks or not, and all of the things that we've had to deal with. But actually for quite a lot of humans that we've connected with, it's been the same, if that makes sense, right?
Yeah, it was probably more stress because of all the protection and what if I get sick? But lots of people didn't have this opportunity to sit back and reflect for a few days. But
yes,
it's life is what life is. And I think what happened was that we have fallen through the illusion that we know what will happen in the future. we have fallen as a society, we have fallen through the illusion that we can control the future and we can control the world and we can control the environment, and we are almighty gods. But there is stuff that we don't know, and it's kind of putting us back on our toes to be prepared and to be more mindful of what we are doing and how we are doing it. We can have, I've been through this a few times in my life, but especially, when so for me, this, was, okay, this is happening, it's not comfortable, but, we'll deal with that. I know that we dealt with that when I was a kid, when we were refugees, when we lost absolutely everything. We are capable, and there's always something to learn. And I think the less we focus on, oh my God, this is horrible, and how, blaming and shaming and just, focus on dealing with that as much as we can as humans, I think it will be easier for us to overcome it, and it will be less problems to carry on further in life.
That's a good point, because we forget as well that there's a certain thing. Mira talked about it before. You lose a loved one, you have to go through a process, and it can be a very long and challenging one if you're grieving. And I'd actually see that we're grieving about a lack of human connection right now. And even for us, we love what we do, and it's amazing that we can connect with people around the world like yourself via Zoom. But we also miss, giving people we know a hug, and going out and being in workshops where we're actually surrounded by humans in the same room. So,
it's life is a contact sport, and I think that the sooner we realize that and let go of things that were in the future that we lost, we can grieve something that we never really had.
And I think we must go through that process.
So just to add on to both of your points, I will just make a very brief point here, is that this phase is a phase which should be taken as a phase of reflection, right? This was the maximum time. People were always complaining about time, right? We don't have time. I'll see you at some other time, or today I'm very busy. Now, when you have a lot of time to contemplate about things, what went good, what went wrong, people should have, spent the maximum time in personal development, in understanding, of what their past version was and how can they better it.
And I think this is something that we are missing regularly. Like whenever you do something and it fails, this is the time for reflection. Any time in life, corona, no corona. But living in the world that we live in, we just, I don't want to think about it. It's uncomfortable. Let me go forward. And then we repeat same mistake and the same. So reflection is important always. We just didn't know that. Now we were forced to do that.
And most of the mental health challenges that we face as humans is exactly what Mira just said, that we don't feel like we can deal with the emotional feelings and response to a certain situation. So therefore we do, sometimes damaging things, or we try and fix it, And this is just a good reminder that during COVID, that, as Mira said, that if you are willing to reflect on some of these situations and just slow down and put the brakes on, you're more likely to be able to feel how that would work as a human experience in the future. So if you do go through more adversity in the future, which, to be fair, we all will, right? But that's not to say that we can't deal with it, because I truly believe that. And it's not to say, we're not in the game of trying to make people feel better for the sake of it, because that doesn't work either, right? What we're saying is we truly see through our own shared experience that everyone has that capacity. It's just that as a species, humanity, when, as you said, we went so fast, right? We're in an interconnected, technology-focused world, which is exciting. It's brilliant. However, we still, as a biological species, need to slow down and reflect. And without both in parallel, that's where we were going, off the rails a little bit,
Yes. So, I mean, so just to add on, this phase when you look at, uh, I mean, on a daily basis, right? When you're coming out from your workplace, you're there at your homes, So, what I tell to most of the people who are there connected with me, to my colleagues, to my friends, and my family, right? That every night you need to dedicate a good amount of time, say 10 minutes or 15 minutes, before your sleep to evaluate how your day was, what could have been done, or what was missed out, and what better can you achieve tomorrow? Because tomorrow is going to be another great day. When you wake up in the morning, you'll have the rays of the sun shining on your face, and you will have umpteen number of opportunities. But are you there on the field waiting to grab that is the bigger question. People usually, are not able to find opportunities, or even if they do, it's difficult for them to grab it, right? So there is, I see a lack of focus, or you can call it a lack of a monomaniacal focus, which is there. If you look at something, right? If you want, just take an example, Mira. If you want to have, a coffee, real bad as of now, you would just want to have it, right? But if it's not at your home, you'll ask Peter, just go and bring me one cup of coffee from somewhere because I need it. I mean, your mind is focused to have a coffee at that particular moment, right? So that kind of focus, whether to your work or to your passion, right, is needed. And somewhere, as individuals, we start, individuality, especially when, very often what happens is and especially this is applicable to the social media world, where people are just looking for millions of likes and followers, and they've lost it.
Mindset that you want to choose is you need a clear head, you need clarity of mind.
Yeah, clear focus.
Absolutely.
I guess there is some technical issue with my audio. I'll just fix it up. Just give me a moment.
Yeah, no problem.
Thank you so much. So the session is back. We started recording it. So we're back with the questions, Peter and Mira. Just to come up with the next question that I have for you, Mira. The stress of living up to the expectations of people, and more so, when we're talking about your own self, it's very taxing both at the personal and professional levels, especially when the society has a lot of expectations from you, and things are evolving faster than ever. We are in a technology, disruptive environment, and going forward, it's all going to be about AI, about big data, analytics, and all of that. Expectations of people are going to rise even at the workplace. That is going to affect your mindset, right? So what would you recommend to my audience to deal with such kind of a situation?
I can even say it in one word.
Yeah.
Self-care. Self-care. We cannot change the world. It's what's happening. It's happening. But what we can do is observe the way we deal with that and learn how to deal with that better. And the only way we can do that is really to take care about ourselves. And I know that self-care and in some instances, I would even, some people would say even self-love. I know it's a word, especially for male population. Isn't that nice? Or not nice, not understandable what it is, but it's really observing yourself, seeing when you're not feeling well, and then taking care of that. It can be in very different ways. I know, for example, for Peter, self-care is going back to music. Even though he's now doing it for himself, just because he wants to do it, it's getting into his creative space. It's his way of meditating. It can be reading a book. It can be going for a walk. It can be leaving that job and doing something else that you always wanted to do. It could be so many different things. And there was I've just remembered now, there was a study that was done in Germany, and then they said that since the COVID, there has been increased number of people that started rethinking their career, and they even calculated it to 41%. So, this is what happens when we take care of ourselves. And also I say, we cannot take care of others if we don't take care of ourselves. If you don't have something, how are you going to give it to somebody else? So as leaders, this is the most important thing. And and to do that, you need to allow yourself to be yourself. You need to learn who you are or unlearn, in order to be who you are. And then you are able to do that. If you're always striving to be like what you think people would want you to be and do what other people would expect you to be, that's impossible task, because it's always changing and it's never achievable, because people will think all sorts of things, and how many people you know, and how many different expectations. And doing that is leading to mental distress. And I know this pretty well because I've done it. And I got myself into really, really distressed state that I was dealing with for a couple of years, until I learned that going back to myself and learning who I am and being there, allowing myself to be authentic, has changed my life. And probably for Peter as well.
Makes a lot of sense. Yes, absolutely. So, I have a very beautiful question coming up next for you. Both Peter and Mira. This pandemic has reshaped our personal relationships in these unprecedented times. Forcing us to live closer together with some people and further apart from some people in these trying times. Mm-hmm. I have 3 questions for both of you in light of this. How is personal contact set to change? Okay. The next question: how should one not fall out in isolation? And the last is: do you think is our environment healing in any way?
Well, I think, is personal contact going to change? I don't think so. I mean, technology, as we talked about before, is changing us, like it or not. But actually, it's been an enabler. Otherwise, we wouldn't have this conversation, right? So I'm blessed that we do have voice over access protocol like Zoom and Skype and all of these things. Otherwise, we wouldn't be able to have these wonderful conversations and connect, right? But I do think that in terms of the relationship piece, because people have been, forced to spend, even us, more time than we would like to in each other's pockets, we too can get on each other's nerves. But the only difference for people listening, because we're not perfect, like any relationship, we can get into, heated discussions or annoy each other, any of that. But what we've learned over the years is if we stay in dialogue and we communicate with each other, then we can get through anything. Not to say that it won't be uncomfortable sometimes, because it is, right? And there's days when I'm like, oh God, I just don't want to be in the same room. And Mira will be like, get out the house, get out my face. But the thing is, we don't harbor a grudge. So for example, for me, I know that any relationships I ended in the past, both business, professional, on a music career, or romantically, it's because I fell out of dialogue. I stopped communicating with that other human being. And guess what happens when you stop communicating? You're in a feedback loop in your own head. And what happens in that is misunderstandings, paranoia, and also just putting your foot in it, because innocently you I don't know about you, but I'm terrible at mind reading. I can't mind read Mira. I can't tell what you're going to say in the next 10 minutes, right? But what I can do, like every other human being, we've got this amazing capacity, unlike animals, to ask questions or even give feedback. So for example, if I'm getting on Mira's nerves, Mira's probably going to say, look, Peter, why are you saying this? And then we can have an open dialogue. And hopefully then you get to some kind of consensus. But even if you don't, you're more likely to stay in a good relationship and not be in toxic territory because you're both in communication, and also you're not harboring a grudge. So for example, if I don't tell Mira that I'm upset, and maybe Mira upset me maybe 2 days ago, and I've just kept that inside my head, what happens then is it just festers and it becomes a small thing that's nothing, right? Into this huge ton of bricks, this big weighty argument. And then suddenly weeks later I say, oh Mira, I really don't like what you said to me 2 weeks ago. And Mira's just like, what? That's insane. Why?
Yeah, we create all these meanings because we actually don't know what's going on. So communicating is really important in any kind of relationship.
Yeah, and I think technology will change the way that we connect and the way that we relate to each other. And there's nothing wrong with that, as long as what Mira said before is that if we lose our capacity of our humanity, which is to reflect, and, you know, all of this good stuff that we talked about, which is our own well-being and our capacity to have resilience and all that good stuff like mental health awareness. If we do that in parallel with embracing all of this wonderful new technology, we're onto a good thing. I think we can supercharge all the things we do. But there's just that caveat that technology on its own isn't bad, but it's whoever's wielding that, the human in control of the technology. If they're not reflective and they haven't got the right state of mind, which is clarity of mind, then that's when damaging things happen with the so-called technology, you could say.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. So, Mira, what are the top 5 mantras you would want to give to the world today from my talk show, The World is Talking?
Well, I'm not one for repeating things in my head too much because that's not, personally, I don't for other things, but I do have reminders. So I'll go on to those ones. One of the reminders that we kind of learned to do, especially during COVID, was check in with your feelings regularly. It's very easy that we go off in our minds, we're off into la la land, in the future, in the past, at somebody else's, but, we don't check in with our feelings, and we can stay in a state that isn't helpful for whatever we are doing at the moment for a long time if we don't check in, no observation. Check in with our energy levels. And when that happens, so these are 2 things that we kind of do regularly as a form of self-help. And then there's few reminders to myself is, where are my feelings coming from? Where is my experience coming from? And it usually looks like it's coming from the pandemic, it's coming from the weather, it's coming from Peter, but then I realized, actually, I'm doing it myself. I'm creating it right now, and then it allows me to get out of it. If I'm feeling stuck with something and I can't think of the solution, it's something that I used to have it really actually sticker on my computer. What are you not seeing right now? Because our perception is limited, especially when we are stressed out and going through some difficult times, and we don't see possibilities and solutions. So, reminding myself that there is something there. The only thing is that I'm not seeing it allows me to open up my perspective and to see things. So these are kind of things. And then, when I get really scared is, what's the worst thing that can happen? Yes.
So, just to bring out that future is uncertain, and there is a comment that came up in the Q&A box that future is uncertain. Anything can happen at any time. So, and that definitely makes a lot of sense, because when we look at our mental health, right, we cannot predict how we're going to be 5 years down the line, 10 years down the line, because nobody has seen that. No. What you can do definitely is to be in the moment and enjoy that experience, right? And, be the best version of yourself, because there's no nobody stopping you. It's only you who can stop you, right? So that's I mean, in addition to what you just said. So Peter and Mira, we've come to the last segment of the talk show, which is going to be very interesting, and it's a rapid fire round.
Okay.
Yeah. So I mean, it's going to be in the form of a one word that you're going to be answering to the question, or you have to just select an option that you've been given. Out of the two, you just need to, select one. So you need to be very prompt, and it's going to be really quick. So starting off with the first question for Peter: an easy life or a life with challenges?
Life with challenges.
Mira.
Same.
The next one is books or devices? Mira.
Books.
Peter.
Books.
Makes sense. So Peter put an order of priority: relationship, care, love, friendship, and support. I repeat: relationship, care, love, friendship, and support. Peter.
Honestly, they're all the same for me. I can't put them in an order. They're all just as important.
You need to put an order of priority that comes.
Okay,
Love.
Relationship, and I've forgotten the other two.
3.
So there was care, love, friendship, and support.
Care, friendship, love, support.
I care, friendship, love. Support. Oh, okay.
Mira, for you, I repeat the question. It's relationship, care, love, friendship, and support.
I'll put the love as a first one because it connects all of them later on. Love, and then relationship, friendship, relationship. Yeah, I don't know. Care and support again are very similar to me, so that would be the order. Yeah.
Got it. The next one is one word for leadership. Peter.
Authenticity.
Mira.
You got it from me.
I'm lucky.
Authenticity.
Okay.
Okay, I'll add another one. Courage.
Great. COVID-19.
Opportunity.
Mira.
Opportunity. Reset.
So the answers cannot be same from now. Because it's getting easier for both of you. Moving on to the next one, it's work from home.
Flexibility.
Mira. Come on, you need to just say one word.
Relationship. I don't know why relationship comes up to me.
So work from home means relationship?
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe because we're working together and we're working from home.
Yeah, and there's a lot of connectedness.
It does. A relationship to yourself as well. I don't know.
Yeah, that's something coming out straight out of your psychological mind.
Yeah.
So the next one is India.
Goa.
Oh my God! And that's Mira.
Well, I could say Mumbai because that's where I was.
I would love to welcome both of you to Mumbai. So, I mean, you should come here real soon.
I was there once, for a few days.
When was that?
It was 2018, I think June 2018. I went there for a wedding.
Oh, lovely. And where was it, in Mumbai?
Oh, I would remember. We were in a hotel. It's where the all Bollywood stars live. The big stars. There was.
Was it in Mumbai?
Yeah, in Mumbai. Yeah. It was in the area where the hotel was. Yeah.
Got it. So there's a lot of hotels. Let's not just go into details now.
It'll take lots of time.
So the next one is technology.
Enabler.
Mira.
Time user. I'll go on a negative. Sometimes it uses lots of time.
Makes sense.
Time suck. Yeah.
Makes sense. The next one is, what happened what's the best thing that happened to you in 2020?
Ooh,
Mira.
Okay.
Mira first.
Reset. Actually, coming back to, I think what we did before, it was really fast going forward. And I think what happened was that at least for me personally, I kind of got
Mira, it's a rapid fire round and you need to...
okay, go on. That's it.
You need to use one word. What's the best thing that happened to you in 2020, Mira? So I discard off your last response.
Reset. Leadership.
Mira.
Yeah.
The best thing being in a national park on a beach in Poland.
Yeah.
Slavoni National Park. I'll give it a bit of a name check because we just found it through, as Mira said, by slowing down, and it was the only opportunity we had to, I guess, to travel now.
Yeah.
Okay. So the next one is life pre-COVID or post-COVID. You can use one or two words. It's fine. 2 words maximum. Life pre-COVID or post-COVID.
Oh, that's a tough one.
Opportunity and reflection.
Mira.
No, either or.
You need to say either or. Pre-COVID, you can use 1 or 2 words, or if it's post-COVID, you can use 1 or 2 words.
Okay. Post-COVID, opportunities. Taking a leaf out of your, but regeneration.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Mira, for you?
Yeah.
Is it pre-COVID or post-COVID that's attracted you the most? How do you see?
It's I think it's post-COVID, and it will be because of all the learnings we had during this period of time. Yeah.
Time's up. Moving on to the next question. One thing that you learned in this lockdown.
How to not kill each other.
Slow down.
Yeah, it's a slow down.
Slow down. It's important for self-reflection.
Yeah.
The next one is, Peter, one word to describe Mira.
Oh, Yoda.
Sorry?
Yoda. Yeah.
Okay. And Mira?
Influence.
Lovely. Next, heart or mind?
Heart.
Mira?
Yeah, I'll go with that one as well.
Okay. And the last one is happiness or success?
Happiness.
Yeah, same.
So we've come to the end of a wonderful rapid fire round, and it was very interesting, and I'm sure you love this segment too. With this, we come to the end of this beautiful talk show where we got to hear some remarkable insights by Peter and Mira, who bring up this, insights of their psychology, their leadership and lifestyle coaching, and they have been running a very successful podcast, The Mind Takeaway, in Berlin. So it's our honor to have you with us on this show, and our audience who were tuned on this live session, I'm sure gained a lot from this session. It's a pleasure, and thank you so much for joining, and we'll see you very soon. And thank you so much, audience, for your beautiful patience, I would say. And yes, so thank you so much for joining in from different parts of the world. It's a pleasure, and thanks once again.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.